This week I dropped everything to start writing my first book. What I realized pretty quickly is the majority of work is already done. In this video, I will be sharing a book writing method I hear nobody talking about, one that has allowed me to earn over $10,000 before writing a single chapter without selling a single copy, and before my first draft is even done, and how you can too with just a few shifts in perspective. Before we get into this video, if you're new to this channel, my name is Hudson and I make money writing words online. And my goal with this channel is to help you do the same. So love for you to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of new posts. Let's get started. If you clicked on this video, chances are you feel like you have a book in you, and this is completely normal. In fact, 80% of Americans have it on their bucket list to write a book in their lifetime. And as we all feel like the main character in our own movie, we feel as though our stories are worth telling. And I agree. The thing is, most people don't ever write their book for one of three reasons. One, it feels like a giant and daunting task. It feels like a risk in terms of time and money. And lastly, there's the fear that no one will read it. And to be honest, until quite recently, I felt the exact same way. So I'm going to help you overcome all of these with a few simple shifts in perspective. The first is to understand that you need a foundation. To be honest, I've always known I wanted to write for a living, but I didn't start writing until my mid-20s. For the last 5 years, I've been writing articles to develop the skill of writing. To be honest, I don't love to write nonfiction articles. I'm a very abstract thinker by nature, and I often explain my thoughts in metaphors, images, or scenes from movies. So the idea of conveying information in a linear manner has felt very foreign to me. In addition, I've always had a hard time calling myself a writer, being that I don't feel that I always express myself as clearly as I would like, and I never went to college. That coupled with the fact that I had no idea where to start, and it just felt like a giant mountain to climb. So my most basic advice is to just get started now. For me, I started journaling, and then that journaling turned into writing articles of my own, and then I made an account on Fiverr where I started to charge for my articles, and then from there, I created my own blog, I moved to Medium, and decided to write my first book. So get started now. Whatever the big goal is, start with a foundation of skill and then take steps toward putting that content out there to be able to receive feedback. That can be in the form of comments, actual feedback from clients, or in terms of stats like views or money. Once you're ready, you will create a solid foundation that will act as a launching pad toward your next step. Regardless of the outcome, you'll learn something and be better for the experience. Okay, now here's the book writing method I hear nobody talking about. I'm not sure exactly what sparked my curiosity, but everything changed for me last year when I Googled the following search term: how long is the average book? The response I got was 90,000 words. So I thought back at having written over 200 articles on Medium alone. I thought, I've written 2 books already. With that, I started looking at my articles a little bit differently. I've never been one to niche down. I prefer the freedom of being able to write about whatever I'm inspired by at that time. But with the idea that I had already written a book, yet I didn't have a book to show for it, I began to think of each article as a chapter or an excerpt toward a book. And this helped me kind of shape the idea for the book I'm currently writing, which is one on marketing. So in the last 6 months or so, I started to write like deep dives into popular marketing figures like the story of Alex Cooper from Call Her Daddy, Mr. Beast, people like that. And people seem to respond to them very well. And so far from those articles alone, I've earned over $10,000. From there, I've been a lot more intentional with what I write, knowing that I can compile them into a book one day. So essentially, here's the method I hear nobody talking about. If the average book is 90,000 words and an average article is about 1,000 words, that means if you write 100 articles on a specific topic, essentially you have your first draft. Then you can either self-publish on Amazon. That's what I plan to do. You can shop it to a publishing company. They'll like that you have a whole draft written, or at least have some pages for them to review. The world's your oyster. You don't have to have the exact structure of the story already mapped out. Often that even the idea that you have to, it is precisely what prevents people from actually starting to write their book. So instead, just think of general direction you would like to go. For me, it's a collection of stories on modern marketing, and then just write articles on that topic. The benefit of starting your book like this is, for one, you get instant feedback. Instead of you have an idea, you write an entire book, and then you discover afterward that nobody's interested in that topic, or they don't like the way you write about it. With this way, you get instant feedback every step of the way, from comments, stats, and almost how much they earn. And you get paid for every step of the way. So instead of pitching your idea to a publishing firm only to be accepted and then being granted a loan to start your book, you're getting paid every step of the way. So if you think about your articles as you creating a grant or a loan for yourself, as opposed to just writing random articles with no direction, it can be very motivating and help you stick to a consistent habit, which leads to the last benefit of this method that I really like, which is that it overcomes writer's block, as it encompasses the 4 keys of habit formation. If you've ever read the book Atomic Habits, it talks about habits needing to be easy, obvious, attractive, and satisfying. And this encompasses all of those, because you're getting immediate gratification. It's simple. It's not a whole mountain you have to climb. It's just taking a step or a path at a time. You don't need to know the exact outline of the book, so it's not overwhelming. It's obvious. It's just, I'm writing an article on this topic. So it's very easy to balance with other commitments if you have a job, kids, or other hobbies that might make the idea of writing a book feel overwhelming. And lastly, it's satisfying, because each time you put out an article, you get a little hit of dopamine, and then you also get instant feedback and money from it. So to summarize, if the idea of writing a book feels daunting or risky, you can overcome these obstacles by laying a foundation. So starting now, knowing that you are developing the skill that will lead toward the ultimate goal. Break it down into chunks. So start to move your content to a position where you can receive feedback, be it feedback from clients, comments, or money. Then set a path and start to hone your articles toward the overarching goal of a book. And then once you have the content, you can shape it into a book. And this concept can be applied to any large goal you have. If you want to start a business, start making the content now, then put it out to the public, set a path, and take things one step at a time. It's essentially a smart way to move toward a large goal while investing your time and energy smartly. I hope that gives you a fresh perspective on writing your own book, and ultimately I hope it results in you taking the first step toward writing your story, because I do feel it deserves to be heard. I'll be sharing more updates on my own book and my journey on this channel, so I'd love for you to subscribe if you haven't already. That's it for me. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.